entrepreneurs through skills, strategies, and motivation. An internationally known speaker and trainer, her programs have reached over 20 countries, translated into multiple languages, and helped pave the path to success and achievement of so many across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to Ms. Ilean Harris.
Prestige, a leader in the community, and it would have validated all of the sacrifices my parents did to go to the United States. But man, I was confused because I grew up in Miami, Florida. Has anybody been to Miami, Florida or seen the movies of Miami? Man, there are beautiful cars, yachts. People don't just make a little bit of money, they're living a great life. I would be fishing with my dad. Anybody here love fishing? I love to fish. I do it every day if I could. And I tell my dad, how do we live there? And I point to these multi-million-dollar houses. And he'd say, don't look at that. You need to be more realistic. He's like, what? So then I'd say, how do we get one of those boats? And it'd be these multi-million-dollar yachts. And he'd say, Ilean, you have to be more realistic. So I'm looking at him. He didn't go to school. He didn't have a job. He's fishing with me on a Wednesday. So of course, I'm always wondering, why is it that you're having all the fun as a business owner and you keep sending me to school? But school seems to be working. I was a good student, got good grades, graduated with honors, but something still didn't feel right. After a while, it started to feel worse and worse. Have you ever felt that way, that you're doing the right thing, but it feels so wrong? So there I am, getting my doctorate in psychology, and I'm coming home sad. Good grades, doing well in school, getting along great with my patients, but now sad is turning into tears, and tears is turning into no energy. And it got to the point where I didn't even recognize myself. Who is this girl? Sad, no energy, wasn't involved in the community, just going through the motions like a little machine. One day I stood up for myself and I said, forget it. I don't want a job. I don't want safety. If this is what it feels like. Now let me explain something to you. There's a difference between not wanting a job and not wanting to work. I'll work. I'm just not going to do it at a job. So I said, I'm going to take a leave of absence. So I walked away from my school. When I walked away from my school, that means I also walked away from my job. So now I have no school, no job, and my husband, Mr. Matthew Harris, which you met a moment ago, got out of money. You walk away from school, suddenly you're engaged to be married, then his company goes out of business, there's no money, there's no income, just big dreams and a small budget. But let me tell you, that's all you need in life. So I did what any person would do with no money and a wedding coming up. I started inviting people. Ever heard of a goal without a deadline? Not me. Ever heard of anyone achieving a goal without accountability? Not me. So that's what I did. His family's from South Africa. My family's Cuban. I even had a bridesmaid at my wedding flying in from Micronesia. People are buying expensive plane tickets, and I didn't even know if the address I put on the invitation for the venue was available. All I knew was that we were getting married on that day, at that time, and thank God, somebody didn't look at us with no internet, selling our dining room set, selling my living room set, selling everything I had because I believed in the business. Thank God. Somebody didn't judge us and they recruited us. Have you ever looked at somebody and said, oh, no, not her. Not now. They probably will say no. I need to find somebody who's like this and who's like that and to start judging people. And this is a very important point because I'm going to talk to you about Facebook. It's hard not to judge people on Facebook. They're sharing pictures and you have to like them. They're sharing information and you have to react. So somebody was smart and said, I'm going to talk to everybody on my list and didn't judge us. And thank goodness they didn't. Because in 90 days, after a lot of hard and hustle, we saved the wedding and got married. No one knew what had happened. People tell me, well, were you proud? Why didn't you ask for money? Frankly, I don't come from a family that would have had the money. But we had a business. If you have a business, you need to realize that your opportunity comes out of your efforts. Looking at your bank account and looking at your purse, that's looking at the past. Your bank account only reflects what you did yesterday and the day before. Your business represents the future you have for your family forevermore. Thankfully, it didn't stop there. We kept helping people, we kept growing. But you know, in the beginning, it wasn't easy. We didn't have internet. I didn't have family that lived nearby. I was in a faraway city because I was going to school. There was no money for advertising. And if I knew people nearby, there was no money to take them out to eat. So our #1 tool for recruiting, for connecting with people around the world, for signing up people into a business from countries I had never stepped foot in, was Facebook. Unfortunately, sometimes people say, well, I have a small business, or I just started, or I'm in the wrong country, or people are skeptical. I don't have enough experience. I don't like to sell. And they come up with all of these ideas that are about the problem. Stop defending your problems and start defending your solutions. If it weren't because of my problems, I wouldn't be helping people with solutions. So maybe you can relate to this. I wanted to work. I really did. I wanted to contribute to my family. I wanted to change lives. I just needed somebody to show me how. Unfortunately, right now, although a lot of network marketers are on Facebook but don't know how to use it correctly, and that hurts their business more than it helps it. So I'm going to share with you, and you want to write this down, how to avoid the most common mistakes network marketers make on Facebook. If you've made any of these mistakes before I share them, good for you. Good for you for taking action, for moving forward, for not sitting back and waiting to know everything before you do something. But if you know their mistakes, why keep doing them, right? So this is a great opportunity to learn, because the more you learn, the more you earn. So here's the #1 thing. Only sharing your link on Facebook. The fancy name for the link is your company replicated site. Isn't it amazing in network marketing you join and you don't have to hire a graphic designer and get all of these things in place because they gave you a wonderful web page? But no one should see that web page until they said, yes, I want that package. Actually, it's not just my opinion. Facebook doesn't want you to share that link. And if you keep sharing it, they will shut down your page. They will not ask you, are you sorry? Do you promise not to do it again? In this day and age, it is non-negotiable that you're on Facebook. This isn't an idea. This is the reality. Facebook is not the future, it's the present. And if you don't use it correctly, you'll be stuck in the past. And yeah, it'll work. But why do something the hard way when you can do it the smart way? So then the other mistake that I see thousands of entrepreneurs that I train all the time make is that they only talk about their company. I'm proud of who I work with. If I affiliate with someone, you better believe I want to share it with the world. I'm so excited. You leave an event, your heart is racing, you've met leaders, you see the cars, you know it works, you smell the energy in the room, you see all the inspiration everywhere. Why don't my friends and family get it? We have to be a little more patient with people who didn't see what we saw, when we saw it, how we saw it. So here's some great ways to share it with them. First of all, think about things related to your product that are not your product. So what if, and as an example, let's say you sell a product to lose weight. What are other things you have to do to lose weight? Sleep well, exercise, be in a good mood, be positive. What if you also shared that? Then people would say, wow, that person is really passionate about health and wellness. And when you say, hey, want to learn more about X, Y, and Z? Now they're not just saying, wow, they're just trying to make some money. That sounds weird. They're saying, of course I want to learn because you're the expert, because this is something you're passionate about. So don't just talk about your company. Put your company in the context of your life. This is where I think is a great reminder to be a product of your product. Ever hear people say, share results? Well, when did you use your product? Were you traveling? Was it easy to use? Can you combine it with other information? Has anyone ever heard of the most powerful way to connect with people on social media? Video. Do people know how to use your product? Don't title a video saying how to make tea with this product, but say my morning routine. This is what I do every morning, and position it as something amazing. The biggest mistake that I also see network marketers making is that they're not meeting people online daily. Imagine what could happen to your business if every single day you met somebody new online. Let's look at it from the opposite way. What if you did not take a shower daily? Well, after a few days, you might get away with it. But after a month, your friends might say, something is not right here. Are you okay? Can I help you? Or sometimes your upline can tell just by looking at you if you haven't been adding new people, making new appointments, reaching out to people. And then you say, well, okay, I'm going to talk to new people. So here's the next mistake to avoid. Only talking to people online. The internet is a tool. It is not you. People will join you, not join a Facebook group. People want to work with you. And you know what? That was really hard for me at first. Because I thought I have to be at this rank drive this car, and I have to go on these trips, and I have to wear these designer clothes, and then I'll be a leader. But the reality is that you are a leader now. It's up to you to live up to the expectations. Finally, promoting your company and not your personal brand is very critical. If you were smart like me and you were sitting at your table taking notes and paying attention, we had a great panel of experts up here a moment ago, and they were sharing about some tough times when they had to switch a company or something happened, or people get scared and nervous of something they see on the news. If you're constantly hinging your reputation and your everything on one company, then your business will rely on their opinion of that company. You need a personal brand, so no matter where you are, what if they discontinue a product and now you have to promote a new product? You still have a business. I think I heard some people asking, how do I get longevity? How do I get an income that I know will come in time and time again? And the best way to get it is to admit to yourself that you are just as important as the company you're partnered with, and you are worth people getting to know. You are just as interesting. When I started, I made these mistakes where I looked like a mad scientist. Let's talk about all the ingredients. I couldn't even pronounce half of the ingredients, but I thought it would make me look smarter, more educated, but in reality it just made things a lot harder. So I encourage you to really show up and show out like the leader that you are. If you keep doing these and you say, no, that was just her, this is easier, it works for my friend, so I'm going to keep doing it, you're going to attract a lot of curious people. I don't like saying this to a lot of people, but when I was a little girl, my mom would take me to work. And after a while, I'd run out of things to do. She'd leave me in the lobby of the condominium. I mean, I was a good girl. You could trust me mostly. And she would go work with her patients as a nurse. So me, of course, always wanting a great lifestyle, I would find real estate agents and take tours of multi-million-dollar properties in Miami Beach. So I would show up with my curly hair and my little pink pants and my flower shirt. My parents never knew how to dress me. But I would show up so happy and say, is this house still for sale? You know, there were no cell phones back then, so I'd ask them, is there a phone jack in every room? And they would say, who are you here with? And so, with a lot of posture, I would say, my dad is very rich. So he told me, since he's so busy, to pick the house I want, and then he'll come buy it later. They believed me! Were they that desperate for a sale that they would give an 8-year-old a tour? I believe it. Why not? We'd get home and my mom would hear at least 20 voicemails saying, please ma'am, $500,000 down and you can get your dream home. And she was, what did you do? Did you sign anything? I think she figured out I knew how to sign for her too. But that was a lesson for me when I grew up, right? To learn how to qualify my prospect. Just because Facebook has everybody doesn't mean that everybody belongs in your team. Network marketing is for everybody, but not everybody belongs in your team. But a lot of people do. Thousands of them, millions of them. And I want you to understand, there's more than enough for every single person in this room to become a multi-millionaire using Facebook. So I'm going to give you the solution, right? Problems aren't fun, but it's important that you have a good foundation. So here are the top 3 things that you need to do on Facebook so that you can have success. The very first one is to attract your ideal audience. You can be the flower or you can be the bee. The flower sits there and focuses on flourishing while the bee is going from flower to flower, from garden to garden. So focus on being the flower. So here's some great ways that a lot of people overlook and say, well, that's too easy. That's too foundational. But you can look at any car. My dad has a business doing car interiors, so I grew up around cars and boats, and I'm wearing pink, but don't let that trick you. I know a whole lot that would surprise you. And cars are held together by the tiniest of screws. And you can look at the biggest skyscraper in Manila, and it's being held together by the tiniest of screws. So don't look away looking for the next huge and shiny thing. These strategies put together consistently and strategically can make you just as strong and as powerful as the tallest building in Manila. So here's how to attract your ideal audience. Let's be honest, what's going on with the profile picture? I need you to look at it. Is it professional? Is it approachable? We all have professional cameras, but let's make sure that you have an angle that makes someone look like, wow, that person is smiling. Because if you're not smiling, that means that what you're doing makes you sad. And if what you're doing is your business, people are going to think, if I do that too, I'm also going to be sad. I'm also going to be negative. You have a responsibility to your team and to your company when you share something on social media. You represent them. And most importantly, you represent yourself. Next, you need to ask engaging questions. Sometimes people think that attracting is sitting back and things just come to you. Passive income does not come to passive entrepreneurs. So it's very important that you engage people. Have you ever wondered how do you go global using Facebook if you don't know anyone in another country? That's the beauty of network marketing. You don't have to be everything, and you don't have to know everyone, because work you did once keeps paying you over and over again. So all you have to do is say, who do you know in the United States, Canada, China, Taiwan? You keep going and going and going. Then they can introduce you. Isn't it less scary to talk to someone after a great introduction than to be like, hi, I like your profile picture. Can we be friends? That's great too. But isn't it easier to say, who do you know? So leverage your networks. Remember, always think, am I working hard or am I working smart? Next, follow up. Hey, I saw you were posting about a test in school. How did it go? Did you ever find that thing at the store? Which thing did you buy? And get to know them. People are real. They're not just a profile picture. They're not just a contact in your Facebook list. They matter. And when you show them that you think they matter, they will bend over backwards and listen and be willing to hear. Because you can't tell someone, I care about your dreams, when you only act like you only care about your own dreams. So act like their dreams matter. Second thing, so first, attract your ideal audience. Second, add value. There are 3 ways to add value. Educate, entertain, and inspire. When you educate people, you position yourself as the expert. Wow, I need to go to her for fitness. I need to go to him to learn how to make money. I need to go to her for leadership. Educate them. You should also entertain. Let's be honest, people aren't on Facebook to shop. They're on Facebook for their friends, for cat videos. Have a little fun, but always remember to keep it professional and positive. Finally, inspire people. People don't care what you know, and they'll always forget what you taught them, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So make them feel powerful, understood, and inspired. Finally, build your personal brand. You have a business, and you are a business. So when people look at you, do they know that? I've never been to the Philippines, but I went to the mall the other day. I was very impressed. I have never been here. I didn't know anyone that worked at the mall, but just when I walked in, I could tell who was a customer, who was shopping, who worked there, based on how they were dressed, what they were saying, how they were treating me. So when people approach you, even if they've never seen you, do they know you're a business person? Do they know you have a great opportunity? Do they know that they can come to you as you continue to add value. Build your brand and inspire others. So here is a very practical goal, because I know that information is no good unless you see a true transformation. You want to write down this goal. This is your daily activity goal. This is one of the most frequently questions I ask from my audience all over the world is, do I have to quit my job to be successful? Do I have to do this full time? Have you ever wondered that? Maybe if I had more time like my upline, I would be successful. Connect with 2 people a day online. 2 people. 2 people a day. If I told you connect with 14 people a week, you might pass out and run out the door. 2 people a day. Now, there are already 2 people that you know. So 2 new people, and invite 2 people that you already know to look at more information. That means that you are in a position to constantly fill up seats at events and get to know people. Pretty simple, right? Didn't I tell you the more you learn, the more you earn? So I'm going to close with this. There was one time where I almost got my aunt sent to prison. By mistake. I almost had my aunt in jail. My dad works in car interiors. He does car upholstery. And I was, sitting there at his business, and one of his very big clients gave me a box of checks. So a little kid, I tell you, I've been attracting checks since I was born. And so he comes up to me and says, hey, Ilean, do you want to play with these checks? I was like, sure. So my uncle comes over and he says, what are those checks? Write me a check. I could use some money. Okay, how much do you want? So I wrote him a check with my little kid handwriting. My cousin comes in. I write him a check. Everyone, customers, everyone in the room had a check. But suddenly, my aunt, who had just come from Cuba, did not speak English. I think it was in the United States for like 2 days. I decided to change my story. I said, Aunt, you won the lottery. It came in the mail and I threw away the envelope. Everyone was laughing. Everyone knew I was just kidding because everyone in the room had their own check. So I don't know about you guys, but Hispanics love soap operas. And there was a soap opera about a man who won the lottery. His name was Huicho Dominguez. So I signed that check, Huicho Dominguez. I made her a gazillionaire, and off she went. She really thought she won the lottery. So that night, her and her husband took all the money, thousands of dollars my family gave them to get on their feet in the United States and have somewhere to live, and they went to the casino. They spent all their money because they were rich. The next day, they quietly found the bus. They didn't even ask for a ride. They didn't even invite anyone to go with them to the bank. And so they went to the bank and they said, I won the lottery, and we're here to cash it. In little kid handwriting, and the check said the name of the car dealership that had given me the check. So they tell them, wow, congratulations, why don't you sit right here? Suddenly there's a helicopter, there's a SWAT team, there's people from the Army, the FBI, and they're holding each other saying, oh my God, are we going to be okay? And so they thought they were some master criminal minds doing things, and so the FBI agent was it. I don't believe you. Your little niece, an 8-year-old, wrote you this check? What? So they called me. I was so scared, I almost died. I thought I was going to prison. What did I do? So here she is, has no money now, is afraid, and my whole family is laughing at her because of the greed got her to spend all her money. Fast forward today, she has forgiven me, and my family has forgiven her. Now everyone knows if she wins the lottery, she's not helping anybody. However, it allowed them to drink. However traumatic and embarrassing it was, they knew how they would spend that money. They knew what would happen. So years later, they became millionaires. Immigrants who don't speak English to this day, and they made it. Today you have that permission to dream as well. You don't have to have an embarrassing story out of bed with a check. You can decide what you want to do, how many people you want to help, where you want to go, how you want to live. But you have to decide that that is what you want. I can't want it for you, but once you want it, myself, along with every other leader in this room, would be more than happy to show you how to go get it. So thank you so much, Manila, for allowing